Hey everybody, it's me, Mrs. Finner again, and I'm going to go over with you the second paragraph of your Rikki-Tiki-Tavi response. So let's jump into it. So paragraph 2 is a little different because we're going to be looking at something called a counter argument. And what that means is you made an argument, you stated a claim, you said Rikki-Tiki-Tavi is a murderer, or you said he acted in self-defense. The counter argument is going to be the opposite of what you chose. So, for example, if you said Rikki-Tiki-Tavi, he's a murderer, then you're going to have to address what someone might say as a rebuttal, as a counter argument. What would someone say to prove you to be incorrect? So that's what we're going to look at in this paragraph. So we're going to start with a topic sentence that clearly states the opposing claim. So let's look at how this would be done. Again, if we go to 5-part paragraph, this is just going to be like one sentence long for a topic sentence. So here, again, in the student example, the student said that the snakes were in the right and that Rikki-Tiki, the mongoose, was in the wrong. So let's see how he addresses this in his counter argument or his rebuttal. The student states in their topic sentence for the second paragraph, however, some may argue that the mongoose's intentions were more pure and valid in their reasons. Okay, so he's saying that he believes the snakes were in the right, but he could see how some people might argue that Rikki-Tiki's intentions were maybe more pure and maybe not as evil as the snakes. So that's great. He made it very short, one sentence. The student had a great transition word of however, so it's showing you that there's another side, right, to this. So that was great. Don't overthink it, short and sweet. Let's go back and see what else we need to include. Next, we need to have relevant background information about the story. Okay, so let's check that out. Again, background information, 1 to 2 sentences. This student just kept it short and sweet with 1. Actually, they don't have any background information really. So this student doesn't have background information before their quote. They just address the quote. So hopefully they would have like 1 to 2 sentences that are a transition between their counter argument and their quote. But unfortunately, they don't include that in this. So not the greatest example, unfortunately, but it is smart to notice that it's missing. And if you highlighted each part of your paragraph, you would know that this is missing from the student's work. Let's see what else we need to include. We need to have a relevant, correctly cited quote that supports the opposing claim. So again, let's check out some of this vocabulary to make sure we're on the right track. A counter argument is also called a counterclaim, and it's something that your opponent might argue. And a rebuttal is how you would respond to that counter argument. So I know it seems confusing, but you state a claim, someone else states, no, you're wrong, here's my counter argument. And then you say, well, no, because of this, and that's your rebuttal. So I hope that's a little helpful. But again, we're now going to have a quote that supports our opposing claim. Going back to our 5-part paragraph format, your evidence should only be like 1 to 2 sentences max. So let's see how the student incorporates it. Now, again, they left out that background information, so that's not the greatest, but let's check out what their quote says. In a small excerpt from the book, it states, again, it's not a book, like it's in our textbook, but it's technically a short story. So that's something that could be easily altered. But their quote is, he saved our lives and Teddy's life, she said to her husband. So this is, again, a great reason to show that the rebuttal or the counter argument, I'm sorry, not the rebuttal, the counter argument was that Rikki-Tiki's intentions were pure. And the quote states that, yeah, Ricky's intentions were very pure because he saved a boy's life, right? What's more pure than like a hero? So that was a great piece of evidence to support that opposing view. Again, let's go back to our paragraph response. What else do we need to include? See how I keep going back? And this is what you should be doing. I know it seems kind of tedious, but if you go back between like your rough draft, the 5-part paragraph format, and this response, it'll make your life so much easier because you're following that formula. You'll make sure you have all of your pieces to the second paragraph. So then after the quote, we need a rebuttal that proves that our argument, what we originally said in paragraph 1, is more logical. So paragraph 1, we said what our argument was. Now in this paragraph, we started again with, but I could see how someone could say this. This is my opposing claim. Okay, we have also information that says, I could see how someone would say that. And now we're doing a rebuttal. We're saying, but they're still wrong. I could see how you would say it, but here's evidence. Again, we need evidence to support what we're saying. So let's see how the student approached that. Rikki-Tiki has saved Teddy and his family by killing Naganya, who harassed the family during breakfast, wanting to bite Teddy out of grief and anger. Before killing Naganya, though, Rikki went to the melon bed and killed the cobra eggs, who were innocent bystanders doing no harm. So again, Rikki, the student's argument is that the cobras are right and that Rikki is wrong. So the student is saying, some might say that Rikki, right? Some might say that Rikki has a more pure intention, but I'm going to knock that away with this piece of information. And this piece of information is that Rikki isn't that pure and innocent because he killed the cobra eggs, right? And they weren't harming anyone. So that would be the student's rebuttal, right? This is how they're responding to the opposite viewpoint. I hope that makes sense. And then lastly, they need to end with a strong conclusion. If we go back to our 5-paragraph format, our conclusion is going to reiterate the main point of that paragraph. So let's see how the student concluded it. Therefore, the cobras and their family were justified in their actions. So this was their entire 2-paragraph essay. I know it might seem a bit long to some people, but they did double space it. But for the most part, this would be a really great paper. Now, they did forget the background information in the 2nd paragraph, and there were a couple of typos. But other than that, this is pretty solid, and this is what I will be looking for when I'm looking at your paper. So I hope that was helpful. Before I leave, just to quickly review, you made a claim in the 1st paragraph, right? And then you're saying, but I see how some people could have a counterclaim. They could have, another opinion about it. They could have another viewpoint. I could see how they could have that. But then I come with my rebuttal. And my rebuttal is how I would respond to that counterclaim saying that I'm correct in my viewpoint. Remember, you can argue whatever way you like for this paragraph, but you need evidence. Evidence is the most important thing that you need. So I hope this is helpful. This 2nd paragraph will be a bit challenging, but I know you can do it. And if you have questions, please, please, please email me. Good luck, everybody. You're going to do great.